CGI. Is it overdone, or can it be done correctly? There are many advantages of CGI, or computer-generated imagery. It can be used to bring many dreams and visions to life on the big screen, things beyond the realm of practical effects. If used correctly, this tool can create things possible only in the imagination with wondrous results. But maybe too much is a bad thing. Maybe it assists the director's vision in a competent fashion. Either way, some films have benefited from it, and some have paid the price painfully without it. First, we'll start off with the things CGI does well. There are certain backdrops or landscapes in film that are just too grand to practically bring to life. For example, the sets in the Lord of the Rings films are broad and expansive, such as the sets for the land of Moria, Gondor, and Mordor. These sets would not be possible without CGI, and it is done in such a way that it looks realistic and tangible without appearing cheap. Another example would be the sand and desert effects in 2015's Mad Max Fury Road, which enveloped the actors in their vehicles in a convincing way that makes you believe that you are actually combating a sandstorm in open terrain. It doesn't challenge our realistic boundaries or have us question if what we're seeing is real, but there are films that unfortunately do that all too well. The second type of CGI viewers come into contact with is the kind they find unconvincing or badly rendered. There are many examples of this effect, and it could be due to many factors, such as low budget or insufficient software. According to an article on ScreenRant.com, examples of this effect are the clone fight scene in 2003's The Matrix Reloaded, in which it's painfully obvious that what you're seeing is not real people or combat. Another example is the zombie crowding scene in 2013's World War Z, in which you're painfully aware as a viewer when the animation jumps from practical to computer-generated. In support of more practical effects, special effects maestro Rick Baker told LAFilm.edu, "There's a magic that happens when you have a really great actor and great makeup. He's there on the set. He can improvise and do things. If he's on a motion capture stage with a bunch of markers on his face, even great actors have a hard time in an empty room." Much like how we use unconvincing computer effects, the same can be said for some forms of practical effects. 1984's The Terminator contains an unrealistic dummy effect or sculpted replica of actor Arnold Schwarzenegger and a glass eye that is visibly artificial. Another example is in A Nightmare on Elm Street, in which the film's villain pulls the heroine's mother through a hole in the door. In the film, it's easy to see that a dummy was again used to convey a sense of horror, but it was used to poor effect. Lastly, there are many ways in which practical makeup and CGI complement each other to make a believable effect. Some films that have perfected this method have been the aforementioned Lord of the Rings films, in which makeup is applied to actors to create mythical creatures and characters, whereas creatures such as trolls and dragons are digitally inserted but blend with the actors and make contact with them as if they were real. Actors in mocap or motion capture suits will often perform the actions and vocals of a CG character to a believable effect, such as Supreme Leader Snoke in 2015 Star Wars The Force Awakens, played by Andy Serkis respectively. It is for this reason that sometimes CGI and practical effects go hand in hand to help make a director's vision come to fruition. To conclude, practical effects and CGI are two different forms of film art that both have downsides as well as upsides. Some movies can exist on their own through practical, such as John Carpenter's The Thing, which contains realistic creature effects by Rob Bottin, or through CGI, such as 2011's Tron Legacy, in which it is effectively demonstrated to bring a doppelganger of actor Jeff Bridges to life. Whether your preferred method of film art is practical or CG, there's no real one answer to this issue. This will always be a cultural debate for film lovers for years to come, but one thing is for sure, neither method is going away.